Alright, hi there YouTube, it's me, Morphsuit America, and I'm playing on the Korean version of Dragon Blaze. Now, yeah, it's a huge surprise that I actually got back into the game, but I did tell you guys that I was gonna get back into the game when Chapter 6 comes out, and most likely I'll be going back to Global to record my reaction for the Chapter 5 story because it will be translated. However, when it comes to this huge update, there's a lot of changes for the Korean Dragon Blaze, and they are big on so many levels, and it depends on where you're at. Most likely some of you guys might be joining in the Korean Dragon Blaze. Yeah, you guys might be returnees, that's what I'm trying to say. You guys might be returnees because of this huge event, or because of the new looks for these Majesty Dracos. I feel like they should have said Majestic Dracos, but it's whatever. It's wording and all that good nonsense. So, the thing is, in this video, I'll briefly talk about the new changes in Chapter 6, because they took out a lot of stuff that was kind of redundant, or some of the stuff that was kind of annoying, but they made it very universal and very easy to go through what you need to do. Once again, I'll explain that in a bit. Now, before I get started, if you are playing on Global and you don't want any spoilers whatsoever, I highly advise you guys not to watch this video. Even though I like the support, if you don't want to spoil yourself and you really want to stay blind, and when Chapter 6 comes out you want to be surprised at all the new goodies and stuff, then exit the video, because there's going to be a lot of changes that will change this game drastically on so many levels. So, your call if you want to watch it. Now, the thing is, if you guys want to see my first time reaction to these Majesty Dracos, or my first time reaction to their abilities, and looking at the animations and my opinions about Chapter 6, then I did do a live stream reaction to the Korean Dragon Blaze Chapter 6 release. Know that I'm also drunk during that stream, so bear with me. Now, I did try to stream again afterwards, however, there's a bunch of technical difficulties on my end that might postpone my streams for future events, just because my location isn't ideal when it comes to streaming, or for some magical reason it's either Wi-Fi works with me and I can stream, or Wi-Fi hates me and doesn't allow me to stream. So if I can't stream, my alternative would be to record it and then post it up on YouTube. I might need to do that for the Global Dragon Blaze, but we'll see. Anyways, enough of my chit-chattering. If you need any help whatsoever, I'll try to provide it. However, if you want more details about these events, if you want to talk to people who know a lot more, or you want to join the Dragon Blaze community, there's a lot of links in the description below for the Discord, for the Dragon Blaze Wikipedia, and most likely, I bet, Slay Team, or what, I can't even pronounce it, Amar? Yeah, Amar is working on the Korean tier list, so that's a work in progress right now, because I did try to check it out and it had that screen, so give it a while before you can check it out and see what you can look at. But anyways, enough of my chit-chattering, let's get right into it. Alright, you might be wondering, why am I getting a lot of stuff in my mailbox? When you first log in, and note that this clip is from my live reaction when I got into Chapter 6 for the Korean Dragon Blaze, yeah, you're gonna get a lot of stuff. They took out a lot of the features, they took out a lot of functions, they took out a lot of modes, and pretty much you're gonna get a lot of rubies out of this. And pretty much it's to kind of give us a refund, along with some compensation to taking out all these functions that we are used to that we used to use. So the thing is, referral system is still around, along with the rune system. However, they did take out transcended weapons, or they kind of made it simple, and they also made universal items. You might be wondering what it means by universal, and I'll talk about that in a bit. But just know that if you do get into the game, you get to get a lot of stuff, and you get to have a lot of rubies. Make sure you spend those rubies accordingly. So don't spend your rubies on something you'll regret. So when it comes to storyline, you know how we tend to continue off from where we left off. So taking Global for example, you know how we finished chapter 4, and then when chapter 5 came out, we just head right into chapter 5 instead of backtracking? Well, when it comes to chapter 6, the game, or specifically the story, gets reset. Meaning that we have to go through chapter 1 all over again. This is a good and bad thing, and I already emphasized this during my first time reaction when I was streaming. And I'm gonna repeat myself this one time and state that it's a good thing because you can get a lot of new rewards out of it. Because every area you clear, you get a bunch of essences and you get an ally. And when you hit key areas like 17 for example, you'll get a triple S ally and then more essences. And then if you hit the last area for chapter 1, you can get an arc transcended ally? I don't know if that's a selector or a random select. Don't ask me yet. I'll give you the answer once I actually clear all this. But yeah, we had to go through all of this all over again. So chapter 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and then we'll head to 6. I really want to know the storyline, so this kind of irks me, but at the same time, this is very useful. Because if you joined Dragon Blaze in chapter 6, if you did join Dragon Blaze during chapter 5 only, you would have no clue who the heck the Dracos are, even though they give a very short synopsis of what happened in the game with the previous 4 chapters. You don't have a connection to the Dracos. If you played the game ever since chapter 1 or ever since the game got released, then you know who the Dracos are. And heck, if you have been a fan of the main characters or the Dracos because they were our first allies or because they showed themselves so many times in the storyline, we know who they are, then most likely you did download chapter 6 or you did download the Korean Dragon Blaze because of the fact that the Dracos got another rework on them. The same can be said when they got the deified version and also their transcended version. So it's a good thing that they reset it, but at the same time it's kind of annoying. But you know, free rewards or more rewards so you can upgrade what you currently have or you don't have. But yeah, pretty much they reset the story, so you're gonna have to work your way through it all over again. And since I'm on this point, I will point this out. They took out the raids. You can find the raids now with this button over here. However, I'm not ready to do it, so I'm not going to demonstrate it. I will demonstrate it when I'm a bit stronger. Alright, so with the ally storage, if you click on it, and if you don't know where the ally storage is, it's at the bottom left hand corner of the screen. When you click on it, you'll see a new roster for the Majesty units, and then you'll also see the transformation system, the Majestic transformation system, which I will kind of talk about. I might do another separate video kind of focus around it, but when it comes to the Majesty units, there's only 5 Dracos. So there are 8 classes in the game. One of them is brand new, but I'll talk about it in a few minutes. So with 8 classes, there's only 5, meaning that 3 of these classes aren't with the Dracos. And you might be wondering, with their transformation, what else is new? They're not the same class. What do I mean by this? When it comes to the Dracos, we know that their normal, deified, and transcended versions, they all had the same class. For Death Crown, he was a warrior. When he deified, he was still a warrior. And when he transcended, he's still a warrior. With Majesty, I can't speak. I really want to say Majestic. I don't know why they just say Majesty. But as a Majesty unit, he's a mage. Yep. a mage. Now, Lucaria is technically a samurai, which is a deviant from the warrior class. And you might be wondering what the bloody heck is a samurai. Well, one, it's a new class, but it's not really new since it still fits in the warrior category. It's just that samurais are the warriors that can equip 2 blades. You know how Death Crown didn't have didn't have a shield and sword as his equipment. It's 2 swords. Pretty much, it's the same stuff with the samurais. Except now they're a class. It's called samurais. And Lucaria uses 2 swords instead of a sword and shield. So she is a samurai, not a warrior. Unless I'm really wrong about that, but I can't remember what her weapon slots are. When it comes to Bloodwind, he's a paladin, Graysoul is a healer, and Lucaria's an archer. Now, if you want to see the skills for yourself and what they have to offer, definitely check out the Wikipedia or look at my live stream reaction where I played around with their skills and gave my opinions about them, and also my commentary on what I think about their designs and etc. But yeah, I decided to go with Lucaria because I tend to go for physical, DPS and physical teams. So, the Majestic transformation system. This is a new system that comes along with the Majesty units, and as you can see, some of these are grayed out, but I only have like 4 of them right now, and Iota's at level 2 because I had multiple cards. But the thing is, this will be very, very handy because your Majesty unit can transform into an Old Key or a Transcended Awakened ally. Now, you might be wondering how to get more of these cards. I don't know how you can get them in the game, like through missions or through rewards or something, but I know that you can find them in the shop. However, it will cost you a good amount of rubies just to get these transformation skill cards. Now, I do have a few questions about this because I haven't tampered around with it yet, and most likely I might answer my own question in a bit when I go off screen to play around with this little new system, because I just figured out how to do it a few minutes ago. But when it comes to the Majesty unit, you see that they have a different icon at the bottom of the screen with the little mask, the pink button over here on the far left. When you click on it, you'll see that it'll pop up certain keys or allies you can have your Majesty unit transform into. So for Lucaria, apparently she can transform into most of the healers. Yeah, she can transform to most of the healers. And then she'll also transform to a couple of the mages and apparently Tyr, and most of the archers as well. And if you're wondering how this works, if you have something that they can transform into, all you need to do is select it, you click on this button, hit yes, and they transform into that key or into that ally, and they get an increased combat power as well. And as you can see, it's Mercedes. I don't know, now this is the thing I'm kind of confused about. I don't know if the Majesty unit will still have, I mean, it looks like she still has her abilities, but I don't know if it will also have the car, I don't know if it will also have Mercedes' skill set as well. So, this is kind of a spin on things, so I kind of like how they decided to implement some of the old stuff with some of the new stuff. So I'm gonna leave her as it is. I will most likely experiment with her later, but pretty much that's it when it comes to what you can find in the ally button. Alright, so when it comes to the rework with the equipment, I feel like a lot of people would like this a lot more to what we used to have, which is Gear Link. Now when it comes to Gear Link, if you don't know about it, it's pretty much that you have to pay an X amount of rubies so you can make sure that an X amount of allies can have the same equipment of the main Gear Link user. However, with Chapter 6, it's universal, meaning that once you equip a bunch of items to one of your characters, all of the characters of that same class will have the same equipment. For example, taking my Enchanter character, you can see that she has her 3 she has her 3 accessories, and then she also has 3 of her equipment. And as you can see, they took out a lot of the equipment, or they took out half of them. So the main pieces you need is the chest piece, the second or offhand weapon, and then the primary weapon. You do not need shoes anymore, you do not need the helmet, and you do not need the gloves. And with that being said, the same thing can be said about the gems, meaning that if you have a few of the highest tier gems, and you shove it all onto one of your characters or one of your class, then all of the characters of that class will have the same gems. And just to visually present my point, I will go to Erin, my waifu, and show you guys that she has that same equipment that my main Enchanter character has. So she has the same accessories, and then she also has the same equipment and the same gems. Now when it comes to transcended weapons, you can think of them as weapon buffs. You don't need to physically merge a fragment piece into a weapon to make the transcended weapon. This is going to be permanent. So once again, it's going to be a weapon rune. Or yeah, think of weapon runes, yeah. Like the rune system, but into weapons. So let me go back to this screen. But yeah, that's kind of a good thing. And know that there are 8 classes. The 8th one is the Samurai Warrior, and like I explained, it's only 2 swords. I don't know if we're gonna get the actual main Samurai class. It might just be a swap between the Warrior and the Samurai, but I have no guarantees, or I have no actual information about it. But yeah, just know that there is a Samurai class. And the last thing I'll bring up will be the universal skill cards. Now you can think of this like the rune system, because you're gonna need certain skill cards to upgrade the certain skill that you're trying to do. And then you can also think of this like Gear Link, because you can add more units to get these effects. It's just that you're gonna have to buy more slots for them, which cost 490 rubies, which shouldn't be a huge problem. So yeah, I can do that right now. However, I'm not going to do that. And if you're wondering what these skill cards can do, I'll just refer to the Wikipedia for now. I'll make a short little video on its own, going a bit more into details about this, and if I did any mistake about like this little system over here with the slots and stuff, then I'll correct myself during that video. But that's pretty much it when it comes to these new changes. So pretty much they made it very simple for all your allies to have certain things without actually grinding a ton. Still, you're gonna be grinding because this is a grind heavy game. Alright, so there is another feature I forgot to talk about when it comes to the allies, and it's called the Absorption Enhancement system. This is going to be very useful to anyone who has a ton of Ultimate, Arc, Transcended allies, along with Arc, Ultimate, or Maxed out Overlords, and I'll explain why in a bit. Or I'll explain why right now. So as you can see, I haven't even played the game ever since I stopped 6 months ago, or whenever I did my recordings. And I don't have the best of allies. However, let's just say that you were active during a certain time and you have a lot of Arc allies. And as you can see, I have a good amount of Max Arc. I have a good amount of Transcended allies still. This Absorption feature that I'm going to talk about will help you out drastically. So, what you need to do is go to the Enhancement system, and you kind of know the process when it comes to upgrading the Overlords by the normal means. So, if I were to show you guys how I can get my Arc status or something, then all I need to do is slide the slider and it gives you the information. But, let me emphasize on what's gonna happen if you decide to do it the old way, or like you decide to farm everything to get your Majestic unit to max status. You're gonna be eating up a lot of resources. However, there is a way around this. The absorption system. And this is the second tab when you enhance either an Overlord or a Majesty unit. You can only use Overlord units to, let me word it properly. When it comes to Majesty units, they can absorb Overlords. For Overlords, they can absorb Transcended Allies. So, this is going to be very handy for me, because as you can see, I have a good amount of Transcended Allies still at Ultimate status, and this is going to save me a lot of resources and time just to get my current Overlords that I have to Arc status. I was very confused when I was staring at the chart, but now I realize that this is going to play in my favor. So I'm glad that I was still active during the Transcended Ally era, and now this will help me out when it comes to getting Vicaria to her max status soon. And I might be able to get a second Transcended Ally, I might get a second Majesty unit, and it might be Grayso, because I think there's a retention system for both Grayso and Vicaria, aka the Violet Risk and the Blaze Eater. And you know what, I might as well look it up right now because I can do that. It should be these three new ones. Yep, if I decide to get Grayso, it's gonna give me an increase. It's gonna increase my HP, and if I have them at max status, it's gonna give me, plus 48%. So that's a good thing. I'm gonna get my DPS, and I'm also gonna get my healer. So yeah, that's something you want to consider doing if you have a bunch of Transcended Allies or you have a lot of Overlords. Alright, so there's this new feature that I kind of glanced at when it comes to the Wikipedia, and I was a bit confused on how to do it, but then someone told me how to do it, so shout out to a couple of you guys. Akuma actually gave me the instructions of how to do it, so shout out to you. But pretty much what I'm going to talk about is offline mode. Now, if you know, or if you have farmed, or if you are still playing Dragon Blaze, or if you remember what we did in the past, usually when it comes to Dragon Blaze farming, you would auto-run the heck out of the game, make sure you have an empty inventory, make sure you have enough ally storage space, make sure you have the pets so they can auto-salvage and auto-combine. Once you have everything set, you just leave the game as it is and make sure it's on auto-run. This is a good and bad thing. It's a good thing because if you have other things to do, then you can just walk away from the game and let the game play itself. It's a bad thing because I realized that most of the time when I was playing Dragon Blaze, I burned or I left my phone and my devices to just play Dragon Blaze. This is a good and bad thing because it's a good thing if you only have one game and you really don't care if your phone or your device that's running Dragon Blaze is running it, because that's your only game that you're playing. However, if you have multiple games or if you need to do something on your computer or laptop, for example, then having that run on the sideline might be an issue. Because let me just say that if I wanted to play another game, let's say Honkai Impact 3, since I was playing that game when I was transitioning out of Dragon Blaze, the problem is I can't farm while I'm playing Honkai because I only have one phone. If I have multiple phones, then that would be a different story, and if I have multiple devices running all these different games, then that wouldn't be an issue as well. But to be honest, I only had one capable device to run all my phone app games because my laptop's a piece of shit. So pretty much that was a huge con on my part, and that's why I actually stopped farming in Dragon Blaze, because it was, one, redundant and tedious and annoying because I was doing the same thing and killing my battery life, and also I always have my phone on all overheat because of the fact that I would leave it on the entire day just farming. Secondly, I really wanted an auto-run function by the time it hit Chapter 5. I was going to mention this in my review for my Dragon Blaze video, but, they added it in Chapter 6. So, pretty much, this offline mode can be used when you're doing Challenges Dungeon. and this is the main thing you want to farm for anyways, so. And I don't know how many hours it will auto-run. I think it's either 6 or 10 hours, but this is a good thing if you have multiple games and you don't want to babysit Dragon Blaze. And how do you do this? How do you activate offline mode? Pretty much you need to go to the Challenges dungeon, and then you have to run the stage that you want to auto-run on. So let's say you want to auto-run on floor 70 of Challenges dungeon. You need to run this 10 times or more, and then once you run it 10 times or more, you get to exit out and you get to hit this brown screen right here. However, if you do not check the auto-run function, it will not activate. Now, if you're wondering what these two options are, it's pretty much asking you if you want to turn on your burn gauge or if you want to leave it off. Most likely I'm going to leave it on because I'm going to be busy in the next few hours by the time I upload this, or most likely I'll be asleep by the time I'm done editing this video and uploaded it. But pretty much once you do that, you get to click on this button, you get to see this person pop up. She'll explain what's the point of offline mode is and how many hours you get before you have to go and check the game again. But once again, this is a really good feature because those who have played Dragon Blaze and now moving on and playing other games, this will give you a lot of time so you can just leave the phone app game and then come back to it when you need to reset it. And this is very convenient for me because I have multiple phone app games now and I cannot micromanage all of them, and I don't have that much free time like I did in the past. So I give props for the creators to add offline mode. I just wish that they did it sooner during Chapter 5 when a lot of people started to quit because it was just repeating the same cycle over and over again. And there are new features that kind of added a little mix here and there, but there's also some cons to it. And once again, I'll explain this all in my upcoming review video for the Dragon Blaze phone app. But enough of my chit-chatting. Once you hit that top button, if you hit that bottom button, it's going to take you back to the screen. But if you hit the top button, it's going to state this. Once it states this, then it's going to close out of the app, and then you can do whatever the heck you want. Now, once you reopen the Dragon Blaze app, it will stop the auto run. It will give you the batter screen or the end data chart that you usually see when you are done with the battle, and it will tell you how many essences you obtain, how many allies you obtain, how many shoes you burned up, and etc, etc. So that's offline mode. Before I conclude this video, I do have a question about the pets. Now, if you're familiar with the dragon pets, then you know that we usually have them so we can auto-run and auto-salvage and then auto-combine. Looking at the shop right now, I do not see those dragons. Because of my... Because of my inactivity during the past 6 months, it's either that they decided to change the pets way back then before Chapter 6, or they did change the pets recently during Chapter 6. So we have these 2 new pets, and my question is this. Are they permanent? Because usually when it comes to the pets, we would have to buy them from the shop with rubies. And most of the time we would spend an X amount of rubies every month so we can have these pets so they can auto-salvage and auto-combine. Now, since I didn't see these pets in that market, yeah, are they permanent? And if they are, that means we'll be able to save a good amount of rubies just because we have them for free. But if you guys can give me an answer in the comments below, then I'll greatly appreciate it. Unless, once again, it happened like 6 months ago and then I wouldn't have no clue because I left the game. Alright, so that concludes this video talking about Chapter 6 and some of the major key features that kicked in. Now, I didn't go into details about the exact changes that they did to Orc Fortress. For example, in Orc Fortress, you can now obtain runes. You can now get some skill cards over there that you can use to upgrade the skill card system that you have now, and etc, etc. Also, I didn't mention the fact that your main characters also got a rework on them, giving them new abilities or keeping some of the abilities that they had in the past. So if you want to look into that, most likely I'll refer to the Wikipedia, and if you have any questions that I can't answer, if you do post it up on, post it at the bottom, or questions that I can't answer, then most likely I'll point towards Discord, because people are still playing this game. It's a great community and stuff, and I mean, I might get back into the game because of the fact that it got offline mode, because I hated farming. Even though the game can play itself, I just hated how annoying it was for me to have my phone app game running throughout the entire day, and I couldn't do jack shit on my phone. So, with offline mode, I will most likely stay in the Korean Dragon Blaze. I might debate about going to global as well again. However, I don't want to play that many video games because my micromanagement sucks, and also because I got mixed feelings about Dragon Blaze still, and I will release that review video in due time. Hopefully, there's no major updates that's going to kick in the next few weeks for the Korean Dragon Blaze, because most likely I had to react to the global Dragon Blaze, see what the story has to offer, see the translations, give my actual reaction, and then I can rework my script, and then I will most likely have to rework the video that I already edited. So, I got a lot on my plate, but the thing is, I will be around playing Dragon Blaze a little bit here and there, and if you do have some questions, or if you do need some help and you're new to the game, and you want some pointers or something, then I could try to help I could help a little bit. And once again, if you want to see my first time reaction of the Chapter 6 release, you can see it all in the description below. Note that I was drunk, so I was a bit loopy, and I wasn't talking correctly, question mark. Then again, my English is always bad. So, yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys around. Peace!